Most people buying solar in Nigeria are not buying power, they are buying hope. Hope that this will finally be the one thing that ends the generator noise, ends the NEPA bill, ends the constant frustration. And I understand that completely. But hope is not a system design. And that is exactly why so many people spend 4, 5, 6 hundreds of thousands of naira and still end up disappointed. Solar works. I want to be really clear about that. But it does not work automatically. It works when you understand what you are trying to buy before you buy it. This is what this video is for. A lot of Nigerians watch solar content from outside Nigeria, and most of it does not apply to our situation. And I want to explain why before we go any further. Over there, the grid is mostly reliable. Solar is a supplement. It reduces your electricity bill. In Nigeria, the grid is already unreliable by default. Solar is not a supplement for most of us. It is the primary power source. That means your system has to carry heavier loads, run longer hours, and operate without the backup of stable NEPA supply to fall back on. The second difference is climate. Parts of northern Nigeria gets more peak sun hours than most of Europe. That is already an advantage. But the heat also stresses your batteries and your equipment faster than it would in a cooler environment. A system that lasts 10 years in Germany might behave very differently here if it is not rated for tropical conditions. The third difference is the market itself. Nigeria has a mix of genuine products, grey market imports, cloned brands, and outright fake products. An installer can show you a beautiful panel with a respected brand name on it, and it might be a fraction of the advertised capacity. This is not me trying to scare you. It is just the reality of this market, the Nigerian market. You need to shine your eyes. All of this means the generic solar advice you find online is a starting point at best. You have to adapt it to your specific situation here in Nigeria. Maybe you want to go completely off-grid. Maybe you have relatively stable NEPA in your area and you just need solar to complement what NEPA is already giving you. Either way, the foundation is the same. The most important step, and it is the one most people skip before you talk to any installer or before you search for prices, you need to understand your load. Your load is the total number of electricity your home or business actually needs. The way you calculate it is straightforward. You go appliance by appliance, you write down every device you want to power with your solar, then find out its wattage. Usually, the wattage of every electronic device you own is printed on the back or in the manual of that electric appliance. And then you have to estimate how many hours per day you want to use it. If you cannot find the wattage, you can simply ask ChatGPT. Type in the appliance name and it will give you a reasonable estimate that you can depend on. Let's say you want to power a TV, you can just type in the exact name and size of the TV and you get the reasonable wattage for that TV. Also, remember that not everyone needs or can afford to run solar for 24 hours. For most Nigerian households, 8 to 10 hours of reliable power covers the essentials. That number should guide your calculation. So, for example, if you have a television that does 100 watts and you watch it for 6 hours a day, that is 600 watt hour per day. If your fan draws 75 watts and runs for 10 hours, that is another 750 watt hours. You do this for every single device you want to power: your fridge, your lights, your phone charger, your decoder, your router, your laptop, everything that you want to power with the solar system that you are trying to create. Now, when you add all those numbers together, you get your daily energy consumption watt hour. Most Nigerian households doing this for the first time are surprised by how large that number is, and also by which appliances are the biggest consumers of electricity. Your refrigerator is almost going to be in the top 2 and it runs continuously. Even with its compressor cycling on and off, a typical fridge consumes between 100 and 200 watt hour per day depending on its size and age. Air conditioners are also another major load. A single 1.5 horsepower AC running for 8 hours can consume more power than everything else in your house combined. This is why the first conversation you need to have is with yourself. Do you want to run AC on solar? What size? How many hours per day? That single decision can change the cost of your system by hundreds or even millions of naira. Now, I built a tool specifically to make this calculation easier. It is called Solstar. It is a free solar sizing calculator built for the Nigerian market. You put in your appliances, your hours of use, your location in Nigeria, and it tells you what size system you actually need. Numbers based on your specific situation. The link is in the description. I would genuinely recommend going through it before you speak to any installer because it gives you an independent reference point that has nothing to do with what someone is trying to sell you. Once you have completed your load list and have your daily watt hour total, whether you worked it out manually or use Solstar, you have the starting point for every other conversation in this process. A solar system is not one thing. It is three separate technologies working together, and you need to understand each one independently. First, we have the solar panels. They are responsible for generating electricity from sunlight. Their output is measured in watts peak, written as WP. A 400 WP panel under ideal laboratory condition produces 400 watts. In the real world, in actual Nigerian sunshine, you typically get between 75 and 85% of your rated output. So a 400 watts peak panel in real condition is delivering somewhere between 300 and 340 watts during peak sun hours. Peak sun hours matter here. This is not the total hours of daylight, it is the number of hours per day where the sunlight is strong enough for your panels to operate near full capacity. In most parts of Nigeria, you can count on 4 to 5 peak sun hours on average throughout the year. Northern states get closer to 5 or 6 hours, and southern and other coastal areas may average slightly lower because of cloud cover and humidity. What this means practically is that a 400 watt peak panel in a location with 5 peak sun hours produces roughly 300 to 340 watts times 5, which is between 1,500 and 1,700 watts hour per day. Understanding this helps you figure out how many panels you need to cover your daily load. Now, the second component is the battery bank, and this is where your energy is stored so you can use it at night or on cloudy days. Battery capacity is measured in kilowatt hour, or in older style, we say amp hour at a specific voltage. There are two main battery technologies you will encounter in the Nigerian market, which is the older one, which is lead acid, which is popularly known as tubular batteries, and there is the newer and increasingly popular option, which is the lithium iron phosphate, commonly called LiFePO4 or lithium batteries. Tubular batteries are cheaper upfront, but there is a catch. You can only safely use about 50% of a tubular battery's rated capacity before you risk damaging it and shortening its lifespan. So a 200 amp hour tubular battery at 12 volts has about 1.2 kilowatts of usable energy, not the full 2.4 kilowatts the rating might suggest. Lithium batteries can be discharged to 80 or even 90% of their rated capacity without harm. They also last significantly longer, charge faster, and perform better in high temperatures. The upfront cost is higher, but over the full lifespan of the system, lithium often works out cheaper. That comparison is more complicated than just looking at the price tag, and we will see exactly why in the next section. The last component that makes the entire system complete is the inverter. The inverter sometimes combined with a solar charge controller in what is called a hybrid inverter or inverter charger, and it does two things: converts the DC power from your panels and the battery into the AC power your home appliances use, and the charge controller manages how the panels charge the batteries to protect them from overcharging. Inverters are rated by the continuous power they can deliver in watts or kilowatts, and sometimes by a higher surge rating for appliances that draw extra power at startup, like a refrigerator compressor and water pump motors. Your inverter needs to comfortably handle your peak simultaneous loads, not just your average load. These three components, panel, battery, and inverter, are what you're actually buying. The quality and sizing of each one of these determines whether your system works the way you expect. Let me walk you through a practical example so this stops being theory. Let's say your daily load calculation comes out at 3,000 watt hours or 3 kilowatt hour per day. You want 2 days of battery backup in case of extended cloudy weather, or maybe if the grid decides to misbehave, and you are in a location with 5 peak sun hours. You need 3 kilowatt hours per day multiplied by 2 days of backup, which is 6 kilowatt hours of usable energy. If you are using lithium batteries with 80% usable depth, you divide 6 by 0.8 to get 7.5 kilowatt hours of battery capacity. If you are using tubular battery at 50% depth, you divide 6 by 0.5 and you need 12 kilowatt hours of rated capacity. This is exactly why tubular versus lithium battery debate is more complicated than just comparing price tags. You need to generate enough daily to cover your load and account for system inefficiencies. A reasonable efficient factor is about 80%, so you divide your daily load by 0.8 before calculating panel size. 3 kilowatt hours divided by 0.8 is 3.75 kilowatt hours. Divide that by your 5 peak sun hours and you need 750 watts of panel capacity. In practice, round up and use 800 watts peak or 1000 watt peaks to give yourself a comfortable margin. You need to look at your highest simultaneous load. If you are running a fridge, a television, your lights, and a fan at the same time, add those numbers up. It is very important. That is your minimum continuous inverter reason. For a system like this example we are giving, a 3 kVA to 5 kVA inverter is typically appropriate. These numbers are starting points. An experienced installer will refine them based on your specific situation. But when you walk into that conversation, already knowing your load and having done this rough sizing, you will immediately notice whether the proposal you are being given makes sense or whether someone is trying to sell you something that does not add up. The installer relationship is where a lot of Nigerians get cheated, and it is usually not because all installers are bad or dishonest. It is because customers go into those conversations without enough information to evaluate what they are being told. Here are the specific questions you should ask any installer before you commit and pay money. Ask them to show you the actual brand and model of every component they are proposing. Panels, batteries, inverters, charge controllers, heck, down to the cables they are going to use to fix that solar, everything. Then take those model numbers and verify the specifications yourself. Go to the manufacturer's website, look up the data sheet, confirm the wattage, the battery capacity, the inverter rating. This is not about distrust. This is about protecting your investment. It is about verification and getting it right. Ask about the warranty on each component and critically analyze who handles warranty claims in Nigeria. An international warranty is in fact, it's useless. The company has no local presence and you have to ship a faulty product abroad to claim warranty, which might end up costing you an arm and a leg. Find out if there is a local distributor who handle replacements. Ask about the cables. This might sound like a minor thing, but it's significant. Undersized or low quality cables cause energy losses and in some serious cases, fire hazard. DC wiring from solar panels carries high current and need to be correctly rated. Ask for a detailed written quote that lists every component for quantity and the price of each item separately, plus the installation labor separately. Any installer who refuses to give you a written itemized quote is a conversation you should end immediately, and pay attention to how they respond when you ask this question. An installer who dismisses your concerns, gives vague answer, or pressures you to decide quickly is showing you something important. Take note of that. There are a lot of traps that you can easily fall into, but I want to go through several specific things to watch out for because they come up repeatedly. The first one is capacity inflation. You are quoted a system described as 5 kVA solar, but the 5 kVA is the inverter rating. The actual battery capacity might be 3 kilowatt hour and the panels might be 800 watts. That system cannot deliver what most people imagine as 5 kVA system. Demand specifics, not marketing descriptions. The second is fake or substandard panels. Some panels sold in the Nigerian market have inflated watt ratings that do not match the real world output. A 400 watt peak panel from an unknown brand with no verifiable data sheet might actually perform at about 250 or 300 watts. Ask for the panel data sheet and check the efficiency rating. Genuine Tier 1 solar panels typically have efficiency ratings between 19 and 23%. If a panel claims high wattage but shows suspiciously low efficiency, question it. The third trap is a shadow battery bank dressed up with a big inverter. A large inverter sounds impressive, but if the battery bank is undersized, you will run out of stored energy hours before morning. The inverter cannot generate power from nothing. The battery bank is what actually determines your runtime at night when there is no NEPA or the sunlight to continuously charge it. And the fourth one is ignoring future expansion. If you plan to add an air conditioner later or grow your system, talk about that before installation. A system designed for expansion costs more upfront, but much less overall than tearing out the entire system and replacing components later when you want to expand. The fifth and most underrated trap is ignoring the quality of the installation itself. The best equipment in the world, improperly installed, will underperform or fail. Cables that are not properly crimped, connections that are not weatherproof, panels that are shaded by nearby structure in the afternoon. These are problems that show up months later when the warranty might have eventually discover, and you don't have anything to argue that these products were kind of bad or the installation was not good. If possible, take photos of every stage of your installation while it's happening. Prices in Nigeria move, and by the time you are watching this video, the specific figures may have shifted with the exchange rate. So I'm going to give you frameworks rather than hard numbers. A genuinely capable solar system for a typical Nigerian home, one that reliably powers your refrigerator, lighting, fans, a television, and smaller electronics without air conditioning, requires a significant minimum investment. It is not a weekend market purchase. If someone is quoting you a price that feels dramatically cheaper than everything else you have seen, the gap is being made up somewhere in battery capacity. Maybe they are sacrificing the panel quality or the inverter brand or even the cable quality that they are going to use, and the installation quality might not be of the highest standard. Air conditioning changes everything. One AC unit roughly doubles the cost of a system in terms of battery and panel requirements. 2 AC units and you're in a completely different budget category. The right way to think about budget is in terms of what you want the system to reliably do, for how many hours per day, for how many years, and a cheaper system that needs to be replaced or significantly expanded in 3 years is almost always the more expensive option over time. You need to kind of get it right from the start so you don't end up spending more money upgrading things or fixing things along the way. Buying and installing is not the end of your relationship with the solar system. You will need to maintain it. Panels accumulate dust, especially during Harmattan season. Dusty panels can lose 15 to 20% of their outputs. Cleaning them periodically with water and a soft cloth makes a real measurable difference. Battery needs to be monitored. If you have tubular batteries of the flooded type, check the electrolyte level regularly. Watch for any bulging or unusual heat. Lithium batteries are lower maintenance, but you should still monitor the battery management system readouts if your inverter provides them. Connections and terminals can corrode over time, especially in coastal or humid environments. Periodic checks by a qualified technicians are worth budgeting for. And it is also important to keep a record. Write down your installation date and make the model of every component, the warranty expiry date, and the contact of the installer. People lose this information and then have no reference point, and when something needs attention a year later, they start panicking because they don't know where to go or where to start from. Here's the thing about solar in Nigeria. The technology works. The sun is not going anywhere. For millions of households that have spent decades dealing with NEPA and the noise and cost of generators, a properly sized and properly installed solar system is genuinely life-changing. I have seen it, I have lived it, and people I know personally have done it right, and they are very okay right now. It changes how they sleep at night, how you work, how your children study, but it has to be done right from the beginning. And doing it right starts before you spend a single naira. It starts with understanding your load, understanding the 3 components that make up the entire solar system, and walking into every conversation with enough knowledge that you cannot be easily misled. This video is a starting point. I will link SolarStar and other resources in the description, and if you have specific questions, drop them in the comments. I read them and I reply them all. If this helps you, share it with someone who is currently shopping for solar. They need this information more than they know. Subscribe if you are not already, and I'm going to see you in the next one.